Part 1 of Book 1 by Sam Beale. We first start off with the King of England, Uther, calling to the Duke of Cornwall and his wife, Igraine, to come and meet with him. After the arrival of the Duke and his wife, the king then notices Igraine's beauty. He essentially falls in love with her upon seeing her. While being upset with the king's actions, Igraine tells her husband. They immediately leave without telling the king. King Uther then tells his men to go get the Duke and his wife. He also tells them that if they refuse, there will be war. Upon going out and finding the Duke and his wife, they are given the orders. Both the Duke and his wife refuse the orders. After the king hears word that they have refused, he warns them that he will capture them within 40 days. When the Duke hears of this, he finds 2 tall, well-built castles for him and his wife. Later on, the Duke gets attacked in his own castle by King Uther's men. Meanwhile, the king falls sick due to all of his built-up anger and love. Worried about the king, Sir Ulfius declares that he will seek Merlin for help. The king and Merlin decide to make a deal. He tells the king that he will kill the Duke, and then, in return, after he sleeps with Igraine, their child that they have together will belong to Merlin. Merlin then turns the king to look like the Duke. He then turns himself and Sir Ulfius into the Duke's knights. They then go out and execute the plan. After the king sleeps with Igraine, he leaves. She is then given the news that her actual husband died in battle, and that she had delayed with an impostor. Ulfius then talks to her into marrying the king. She then agrees. Later on down the road, Igraine gives birth to a baby boy. The baby is prepared to go to Merlin. King Uther becomes sick a couple years later. After another battle, he becomes even more ill. Uther declares that if he dies, his son should take the crown. In London on a Christmas day, there is a stone with a sword stuck in it. It says that whoever gets it out can be king. Many men try, and all fail at the attempt to pull the sword out. Going back for a forgotten sword, Arthur tries at the rock and pulls out the sword. Actor and Kay see this happen and conclude that Arthur is the king. The sword is then put back into the rock. People try to re-pull it but cannot get it out. But once again, Arthur has no troubles pulling the sword out. People were angry that Arthur was the only one to get it out. People didn't want to accept that, therefore declaring him king was held off. Finally, after being fed up with being kingless for a long duration of time, the whole kingdom declared Arthur as their new king. They then held a humongous feast.